myself and Madison, Brian Wesley Johnson. Thank you for joining us on Saturday morning. Full of passion, purpose, and high quality living. See you next time. Hello, my name is Brian Wesley Johnson, and I want to welcome you to another edition of Soulivity Live. Thanks for joining us. Okay, I want to start tonight's show a little different by doing a little quiz, a little Jeopardy-like thing. So I'm going to read you a definition, and I want to see if you can guess the associated word. Okay, ready? I'm not going to do the Jeopardy music, though, okay? All right, here's the first clue. A center of activity, attraction or attention, or a point of concentration. Did you guess it yet? No? Okay, here's another hint. A state or condition permitting clear perception or understanding. Okay, did you guess it yet? No? Okay, well, it doesn't matter, because if you guessed focus, you were correct, and that's tonight's show. Focus plays a significant role in our everyday moment-to-moment lives. It's a vital universal principle to living a high-quality life. One of my favorite authors, Arnold Patton, used to say, what you focus on expands. And what he meant was, and what he described it as, the flow of divine power or love through the beliefs you hold in physical consciousness will manifest limitations in your physical reality. What he meant was focusing only on those physical aspects or things in life brings you more limitations based upon your existing beliefs, okay? Now, he said, by taking a different perspective and focusing on releasing those old beliefs first, and then surrendering to all the possibilities of the flow, capital F, that will free you to manifest more realness, more richness, more beauty and joy in life. Pretty powerful, right? Well, that's what tonight's show is all about. It's about changing and redefining your focus to create what's possible. I mean, it's such an important next step to being all that you were meant to be. And so back with us tonight to help us learn how to focus on as well as expand love in our life is Dr. Leslie Wells, international speaker, talk show host, and author of the book Path Through Wealth Through Faith, as well as the creator of Eve Consciousness. So let's get her online so we can get this party started. And there she is. Hi, Dr. Leslie.
Oh, wait, am I muted?
You are unmuted now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh man, I'm so excited to do this show because I think it's so important. I mean, again, it's just one of those really important aspects to the manifestation process, including like bringing love, more love and flow into your life.
Yes.
Before we get started, I want to remind everybody that we love questions. So if you have a question for us during the show, just post it right here to the live feed, and we'll get to as many of them as we can throughout the show. So with that, Dr. Leslie, you know, this is like part 2 of our beautiful journey through this process that you've created. And the first step was we needed to see our lives differently, perceive them differently. And now we're moving out of seeing into focus. And as I said before, this is so important. So, you know, for our audience, can you describe what focus means for you? I mean, I love the different definitions, so I want to get them all in there.
Yes, yes. Well, first, Brian, if you don't mind, I'd love to remind our viewers of the whole process that we're working through here. These are the steps to successful intentional creation, okay?
Yes.
This because we are creators and we're creating all the time.
Right.
It's just that for most of us, we're spending most of our time with our foot on the accelerator pedal and not touching the steering wheel.
Right, right.
So sometimes it randomly goes where we want it to, and lots of times it ends up running way off track, okay, because we're not steering the vehicle.
Right.
All right? And focus is how we steer the vehicle.
Gotcha.
Okay? Focus is how we steer the vehicle. So I want to remind everyone, we've got 4 steps in this creative process.
Sure.
So the first one, as we went through last month, excuse me, is to see like a creator. Okay? Move that C. I'm going to turn it this way. Move that C, and you move from reactive to creative. We move the C from the middle in reaction, and we put it at the beginning. Then we are creation.
Right.
From reaction to creation.
Right.
This is moving into perceiving life without the judgment, without the perception as a victim, without letting go of the old life happens to me, okay? And also letting go of the judgment that says this is bad and that's real good, because when we are holding that, what we call polarity perception, then we are actually feeding both sides of the pole, okay? So when we go, I'm so excited, this is how it should be, it really needs to be just like this, then we are making it to where anything but that is the opposite, and we feed an energy into that. So there's a balance to be had, and that balance is what we call unconditional love. When we see like a creator, we're seeing through the Christ consciousness eyes that loves and allows and accepts everything as it is. That means we're finding a state of inner peace, okay?
Right.
That's balance.
Right. Now,
and I think that's where a lot of people sabotage their manifestation, because they get so psyched up about what they must have and so determined about that they're out of balance, and they're not realizing that they're setting up this seesaw that's bound to tip, right?
Right.
So we want to find that inner state of balance that says, the Apostle Paul says in the New Testament, I have come to a place where I am content in all circumstances.
Wow.
Content in all circumstances, in a base and in a bound, with abundance and with lack. I am, all is well within me. That's the place of power, seeing as a creator. You know,
Dr. Leslie, when you talk about this specific piece, I want to remind people, and you can tell me if I'm on the right track here. When you're allowing all of these different possibilities to be as they are, and that kind of thing, you're just not, you're still driving the car, right? Because you're being intentional in doing that, not just kind of like, well, if whatever happens, happens, right?
Yeah, we're not disconnecting.
Right.
You know what? This is using a particular level of mastery of self, because our natural, more animal programming that is wired for our survival, okay, that survival instinct naturally has us craving one thing. I really, really, really want this because it's going to make me survive.
Right.
And running from and hating and detesting its opposite, okay? And that's us at our more primal state as we advance and mature. This is why it's only now, Brian, that we are moving into this era of becoming the conscious creator.
Gotcha. The
Eve consciousness, energetic, vibrational exchange era, the third era of human consciousness evolution is here only now, because we are now at last ready to begin. We're mature enough as a human race.
It's funny how I think people forget that as we know it as a individual and an individual circumstance, that over time, you're born, you go through this process, you become you go through adolescence, you become a young adult, and then you mature and you learn all these lessons. But what you're saying is so important, because as a race, we've also had to go through all these different steps, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And that there have been people who've been leading the way trying to say, come on.
Yeah.
But in terms of it being more mainstream, being it more accepted, I think that's such a vital, important aspect of this.
I mean, look at how we have evolved in so many ways. I mean, look at technology. Look at how we are able to connect with the whole globe in a moment.
Yeah.
In a moment. I'm texting my friend who has the flu in Auckland, New Zealand, right? And able to know what time it is where she is.
Right.
And we're connecting, and within seconds,
Right.
we're interacting and writing.
Right.
We're sending each other letters. They used to use the Pony Express and and ride. And I mean, heaven forbid you want to send something over an ocean.
Right.
I mean, now it has to make it through a ship and hope that it doesn't sink on the way. I mean, we've come so far. And yes, this is the nature of existence. It's the nature of life, is that there is an advancement. There's an evolutionary journey happening in every way, whether it looks like it or not on the outside at any given time. The bigger picture is we're moving forward. Everything is. It's the nature of life, okay? And so as we stepped into this new era, then our natural soul instinct is going to move us to where we don't know why, but we're interested in this conversation.
Right.
Right? I don't know. I didn't used to think about it like that, but I don't know why. I need to hear about this. I want to know, okay? Because we're wired to advance into this next role. This is our destiny.
Right.
We can't get away from it.
Right.
Okay? So we're confronted as souls with, what does this mean? Somehow I feel driven. How do I become a creator in my world? Okay? Not a reactor, not a victim. How do I step into mastery? How do I become the one who calls the shots?
Right.
Okay? And so here's the 4 steps. We start with seeing like a creator. And again, we went through that on the last show. I know they can they access the last show still?
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. So here we are. We come into that place as we're seeing like a creator. We move out of our immature judgment. Mine. No. Give it. Right? This is how when we were little, when the Bible says, when I was a child, I thought like a child. I spoke like a child. I ate like a child. Babies drink milk. Then it says, now I'm ready for meat. It's time to be mature. We grow up into this to where we can override. Do you know that I just read last night? There was a scientific study that tested young children. And it said young children, these were like less than 5 years old, that were able to delay gratification. Okay? These children, there would be like a cookie, and those that could wait 2 minutes before they picked up the cookie. Okay? And it says if you can wait 2 minutes, then you can have not 1, but 2. But some of them is like, I need it now. Never mind the future. I need it right now. Okay? Right. The child that could delay gratification, it said, showed higher levels of intelligence and more success in life. Okay? So understand, there is a sense of delaying that primal urge that says, give me right now. And that primal urge that says, I'm going to be very attached to this and I hate that. Okay. Right. We're going to release that primal urge and reach higher and say, I am content because I dictate my state of being from within.
Gotcha.
So these things, even though I may choose one thing or another in this outer world, I am wise enough to know that my reality is dictated by me, beginning within me.
Wow.
I call to being my contentment, my inner state of peace, my sense of well-being. And from that place that says, I am well, within, no matter what.
Okay.
That's unconditional peace.
Yeah.
That's unconditional well-being. Then we look at all of life and say, it doesn't matter because I am well within here, and nothing on the outside can change that. I'm not a victim of that no matter what.
Is that where is that where the core in terms of that focus, right? Where we're not focusing out there. We're really focusing in here, and then that transforms what's going out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So it is foundational that we have. The first foundation is what state of being is within here. If underneath all of our smooth talk and readiness behavior,
right,
we are feeling inside desperate need for things to be a certain way in the outer world, okay, the field hears that signal. And that desperate need holds in it fear of not getting what we're intending on. And it means that we're not going to be that constant, successful creator when we need it that way.
right.
You know, that relationships aren't that different. You know,
Yeah.
When somebody need is not attractive.
Yeah. I mean, how many times have you heard, well, I didn't really like him or her. They were just too needy.
Too needy. Yeah. So when somebody, no matter how attracted you feel to somebody,
right,
if they start calling you every 5 minutes and then going, how come you didn't write me? How come you didn't text me back?
Right.
You start to lose it. It's
Right.
hard to hold the attraction.
Right.
That neediness will repel us, and the universe is the same. We are ambassadors of the universe, and such as it is for us, it is in the field.
Right.
So when we move out of neediness because we have created our state of balance within,
Mm-hmm.
then the world is at our service. Okay? The outer reality is there to serve us.
Let me ask you a question about that part, because you mentioned the story that you read just the other day about children. Is part of the process that gets us to focus is developing our own sense of patience, our own sense of surrender and letting go?
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, and immediately when you said the word patience, I felt, this is interesting because I've never thought the thought before like this,
mm-hmm.
but I got patience is a symptom of something deeper, okay? What makes us patient? When we feel secure within, when we feel balanced, when we don't feel needy,
mm-hmm.
we're not in a rush for anything. We're patient,
yeah.
right? Because there's this solid foundation within me of well-being, and I'm not needing to get anywhere quick, okay? Patience is there. Patience is a symptom of trust, okay? When we trust.
I like that.
Right? When we trust and seeing through the eyes of the creator, seeing like a creator,
mm-hmm.
has trust in it. It's a knowing.
Wow.
I know. But even before we get to know, okay, we can step into this creation process when we don't really know yet. This is called faith.
Yeah.
This is called faith. Stepping out in trust, in choosing to believe in something that I can't prove. I don't really know it yet, but I believe.
Right.
I believe. And when I believe, then I trust.
Right.
And when I really trust, and the closer I get to that knowing inside with my believing,
mm-hmm.
the more patience there is.
Right.
Like I know it's coming, and I'm not worried about how much time has passed. That's where your patience is, okay? And then we move into this next step, which is focus. So we get to the state of peace,
Okay.
We get to this seeing through the eyes of the Creator.
Mm-hmm.
We get through this to this feeling that says, I'm not dependent on that.
Mm-hmm.
That the reality of my well-being is within me.
Okay.
And nothing can move that when I choose it not to be moved. You know, I am connected within. And when I have that sense, then I can look into this outer world and choose. What do I choose amongst all the possibilities? And this is where we focus.
Right.
And when we're focusing on this, I want to remind us, Brian, that we're not focusing on a goal out of a sense of need to get out of where we're at. Right?
Okay, repeat that one more time, because I think people need to hear that one.
Yeah, we're not focusing on a goal to get me somewhere that I feel like I need to be and get out of where I'm at, okay? So most people that are saying the law of attraction's not working for me, this is where they're coming from. Gotcha. They're in denial about the neediness that they've got going on. Right. And that's why they're even saying that, because they're impatient and going, well, I tried and tried, but it didn't happen in whatever time frame. So I quit. Right. It doesn't work after all. It's because there's this, the law of attraction is saying that loud vibration in the background that says, give me, hurry up. I can't stand this where it is. Please come this way. That neediness is drawing in the real message that's in the background that says, I'm afraid of going in the opposite direction of where I'm thinking I'm going, where I'm choosing to go. I'm afraid of going that way instead of this way. And the fear that's focused on what I don't want is louder than the intention for what I do want. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. The fear. So again, that foundation is so important to see like a creator. And look, I don't want to minimize the effort that it takes. Okay. Yeah. It does. There's a primal, it's the saying, I'm willing to delay reaching for the cookie. Okay. Yeah. Even though, I know it's going to taste so good. Right. I don't have it now. Right. And but it's moving into a more mature state that says, I know that's going to be good. And I'm willing to wait. And I'm willing to find a feeling of well-being within me right now that's not dependent on that cookie being in my hand or in my mouth yet. Right. I'm willing to wait. And I'm finding peace in the waiting. Right. And as we do that, then we have that balance that's not projecting to the universe that neediness and fear of what we don't want. Right? Right. Then there's that relaxed state of being. Okay? We relax and focus. Right. Then we're like the driver of that Lamborghini that just confidently turned on the rumble engine. Right. Put our hands on the wheel and started to press the gas pedal. Now we confidently point ourselves in the direction that we intend. And when you spoke the word focus, an image came to me, Brian, that said focus is the magnetic power. Yeah. It magnetizes to us. So what we're focusing on, we are magnetizing to us. And so many times when we're telling ourselves or others, I'm focusing on this thing that I want. The truth is, we're focusing on that thing that we don't want when we haven't gotten this yet. Right. And the fact that this isn't here yet is our excuse for looking at, that's not here. That's not here. I don't like this. You know, my bank account's empty. This is another vital part, because what I've learned in my own experience has been when you say, I want $1 million, right? You may consciously think, all I'm saying is I want $1 million.
But in reality, at a spiritual level, what you're really saying is, I don't want to be poor anymore. I don't want this. And what will fix that is $1 million. Well, the universe doesn't hear the not. I don't. It doesn't hear do not. It only hears do. It only hears positive things, right?
Yeah.
So that's why you don't press on the gas. You don't move forward until you deal with that part, right? I mean, that's what I'm kind of hearing you say as well.
I love that you brought that up, Brian. I've coached so many people around this. You know, so many times we set up in our mind, we suppose what the solution to our problem would be. And if we feel impoverished, we suppose the solution to that feeling of impoverishment would be $1 million. But what if, like in the era of the Depression, it took a wheelbarrow full of cash to buy a loaf of bread?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
What if $1 million suddenly is worth nothing? I mean, what we really want is a feeling of freedom and abundance and ease and flow. Okay. We equate financial wealth with freedom of choices, right? And that's what we want. Right. We don't want $1 million locked up with us in some prison underground where we're staring at that money, but we can't get food or water. Right. Right? We want freedom and ease, you see? Mm-hmm. And we think it's from that. But I believe that for me, the best way to focus is on the true end result. I want ease, flow, freedom, abundance. Okay.
You're talking about taking it to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
You know, so instead of money, you're talking abundance, a capital A.
Yeah.
Prosperity, capital P. You know, those higher levels of wants and desires to flow into your life.
Yes. And so, which really leads us quickly as we begin to understand that what we're truly intending is a feeling that we believe we're going to access when these circumstances show up. And that's the next step of the creation process, is the feeling. Right. Okay, we see like a creator, bring ourselves into that balanced seeing that's not needy, clinging, and resisting what is. Right. We unconditionally love life and ourselves, okay? And can I tell you, folks, you don't have to perfect this to get there either. No. You can be partway there and getting some of this right and get this creation process happening for you anyway.
Yeah, I mean, this is you know, I've heard this described as a spiral upward, a spiral ascension. Yeah. And that you're always going to be learning. And I mean, the two of us, we're still learning new things and growing. So, absolutely. You know, I mean, so it's more about moving forward into this energy, right? Moving into this than, okay, well, let me check these boxes off. And once I check these boxes off, then, okay, now where's my payoff?
Yeah. It is movement forward. It's not, you know, it's not really the destination, but we feel relief and we feel success when we are progressing. We feel success when we progress, okay? So when we're progressing on this journey, we will feel success and we'll see it. Right. We'll see it. You don't have to perfect it all this for things to start coming your way. Right. Okay? But we start with seeing like a creator. Number 2 is we focus and we understand that we get clear on where am I focusing, because a lot of times we'll be tricking ourselves and thinking this is where I'm focused, when really most of the focus is on what I don't want. Right. What I don't want. Right. I don't want to be lonely anymore. I don't want to live in this wherever I'm living. I don't want, you know, when we focus on that, that is the strong message that comes out.
Right.
And it's about, again, this takes discipline,
Right.
to let go, just like the child,
Right.
that says, I'm going to be willing to look at that cookie and not grab it yet. I'm going to wait. Okay.
Right.
This is you using your higher mind to put that little anxious child aside and say, I know, because that focus on what we don't want is based on fear.
Right.
And that fear is what we're wired for survival with. And this is overriding that survival instinct to say, all is well, my dear. We're going to focus up here. Don't worry about that we don't want. We're going to be looking at what we want. And this is where we start to create the momentum and the frequency that is the power of faith. That focus is the power of faith when we're willing to look at what we want, even though we're not seeing evidence yet. We're not going to let the fear impulse overtake. We're going to override the fear impulse that says, yeah, but I don't see any evidence yet. Yeah, but look at what's going on. It's not that.
Right.
We override that and keep focusing on what we intend without looking at what it is right now that would deny this view. In other words, if we're aiming for financial wealth, we don't focus on the signs and symptoms of the lack of wealth that's here right now. We don't use these facts as an excuse for defining what our reality is. That means we have to, in a way, trick our minds and tell it to ignore this and focus on that. It means you bring yourself into a feeling of abundance even before the money's come or the ease has come.
You know, last week when Jesse and Melba Johnson were on, they were talking about this part of ourselves that we have to reprogram, right? And I think this is an important aspect to what you're saying as well, because we learn from those who have learned before us, right? And what people before us, because they didn't know differently, learned to fear.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so what you're talking about, it seems as though what we have to do is unlearn fearing our life and embracing our life through unconditional love and unconditional peace.
Yeah.
Right. And that takes time. Like you said,
and with that is a willingness to trust life.
And trust. Exactly.
Trusting life. Yeah. Yeah. Now, but understand, we're transitioning. We're coming out of an era where, yes, fear will keep you alive.
Right.
You know, figure out in advance, get a plan B, C, D, E, F, G, and have all your backup strategies to keep you safe. Okay. And that was our means to success to a degree. Okay. And that has worked in the old era. Right. But we've moved into something new. In the new era, we are to be vertical creators. Right. That says this isn't a linear thing that says long-term goal, short-term goal, medium-term goal, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What can I do to manipulate and make this happen? Right. What marketing strategies? Yes, that worked for a time to a degree. But this linear path will never compare to what we've now stepped into. Working vertically, exponentially, quantum, calling in new worlds.
Just like that. Just like that.
Yes.
And it's happening. I mean, you said this in the beginning where you were talking about technology. Yeah. I mean, all of us have experienced, and I want people to not take this lightly because this is important, where you've been on social media or on the computer, email, text messages, those kinds of things where you connect with a loved one that's going through something painful, and you can immediately connect with them and send them love and light.
Yes.
That did not exist until now.
Yes.
So there are things, and that came out of everything that you're talking about, Dr. Leslie. I mean, this is another new generation of existence that's been born out of all this technology that's happening.
Yeah. The rules have changed.
Yeah, exactly. The rules have changed, right?
And it's happened before, right? You know, I mean, from the biblical perspective, we went from the Old Testament in the first era that had certain rules. You stone them to death, you know, have lots of wives and concubines. There was an old rule, and then we moved into a new era of Christ consciousness, and the rules have changed.
Right.
And now we're moving now to another era. So those that are here right now are the way showers.
Right.
We have the task at hand of shifting from one set of rules to another, and of learning how to navigate in ways that humanity has never navigated before. And we are able if we're willing. Yeah.
So let me bring this home for some folks here. So in terms of we're seeing as a creator first, and then we're standing on that to, sorry everybody, that was my phone. Live streaming, it happens. And that we're standing on that new perception.
Yeah. The perception of peace.
Of peace.
Right? So I see like a creator, I'm going to be at peace. That's my foundation. Step one, the perception of peace is seeing like a creator.
Right.
Okay? Then from that place, we go, what shall I choose?
Right.
And there's not some sense of desperation about what I'm choosing, because let me remind us all that what the field is going to perceive, what the universe, what God is going to respond to, your true prayer that you're emitting is the feeling that you're feeling, not the language you're speaking or telling yourself. There's a feeling that's beyond words, that's louder than anything you can say.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
That feeling is louder than anything you can say. You know what that looks like.
Yeah.
The person who comes up and tries to act haughty to compensate for their inner feeling of weakness and disempowerment.
And you can feel it. You can feel the energy. You can feel, and even though that person that you can see, because we see each other, right? I mean, we sometimes are mirrors because we've been through that pain, that sorrow, that melancholy, and we can see that in other people. So we're standing on this peace and faith in life to now refocus on the higher, not, you know, as what I said in the beginning, in terms of what Arnold Patton was talking about, in terms of the physical stuff. That's the result from focusing on higher level, abundance, love, healing.
Yes. Now, not to say that we cannot attach to that feeling also.
Bring it home. Yes.
Physically. Okay. So Jesus has a mountainside of 5,000 people hanging out, listening to him talking, and then everybody's hungry.
Right.
Hungry. All right. And they go, what are we going to do? So they come up with a couple of baskets of a couple loaves of bread and a handful of fish. And he says, pass the baskets. Break the food. Okay. Well, that food keeps breaking and breaking and breaking and breaking. Okay. So I'm just going to say, Jesus just exuded a feeling of knowing that said, there is plenty.
Right.
To feed us all.
Right.
Okay. There is plenty to feed us all.
Right.
And so the bread just keeps multiplying.
Right.
And so he says, pass the basket and just break it and eat.
Right.
Right. And so such is our creative process. Right. We stand in the knowing, the feeling of I trust. Right. I believe. Right. And I imagine myself being free and abundant with ease. And as I imagine all of that, I now turn my focus to $1 million. Okay, I now, from that place, I turn my focus to that man or woman,
right,
that I want to partner with.
right,
Okay, but we start with something bigger,
right,
and not be limited by these little things, okay? Because it's easy to hook into this with all that neediness. Let's go for the gold.
right.
Jesus starts with, there is plenty and we will all be fed.
Wow.
All needs are met. There's nothing lacking in this place. Nothing is lacking here. Pass the baskets of fish and bread. Thank you very much.
Well,
I'm passing, right? Then people eat because it's in the flow.
wow.
You can't stop that vibe. And that vibe creates miracles because now it's the natural next step. It can't be stopped.
Right.
See,
Right.
It can't be stopped.
You know, Dr. Leslie, on that, I think you can just drop the mic on that one. Thank you. I mean, that's a powerful visual representation of what I wanted tonight to be about. And I hope that all of you out there got that piece of bread, right? That nourishment that takes you into this next part of the manifestation process in terms of manifesting that life that you really, really want. And that you deserve. That's your birthright.
Absolutely.
That was there from the time that you were a little baby and beyond that. Dr. Leslie, thank you. As always. I mean, it's like, now I'm all energized. It's 9 o'clock and I'm ready to rock and roll. So, Dr. Leslie will be back next month as we move into the next phase, which is to feel. And so we've gone from
step 3 is to feel.
And so we've gone from seeing to focusing and now to feeling.
Yeah.
And I can't wait. I'm ready to do it. I'm ready. We could do it right. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you again, Dr. Leslie. I really appreciate you. Appreciate all that you share. I want to remind everyone that you can go and check out Eve Consciousness online. We'll have the links to Dr. Leslie's fabulous program as well as her books and the world tour that's going to be going on. You'll be able to read about that as well on our website. You also have access to this video and all the other inspirational videos, including Seeing Like a Creator, the interview that we did before last month on Soulivity.com, or by downloading our mobile apps, which are absolutely free. Okay, so go out there and get inspired. So again, Dr. Leslie, thank you again so much.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, viewers.
Yeah, until next time, this is Brian Wesley Johnson saying thank you for joining us. And of course, I'm wishing you all love, passion, and of course, a joy-filled life. Good night. My name is Brian Wesley Johnson, and I want to welcome you to another edition of Soulivity Live. Hey, how you doing, sir? My sister, how are you?
Hey. This one, right? Yeah. we might need some more wine for this.
So, let's get this party started, y'all. Hey, my sister, mademoiselle.
That is the most amazing introduction I've ever heard.
Oh, for being here. Oh, what an amazing day. Go make it even more amazing. Myself and Madison, Brian Wesley Johnson. Thank you for joining us on Saturday morning. Full of passion, purpose, and high quality living. See you next time.
And now, the encore performance of Soul Stories, The Beauty of Paris. The sun rises and the heartbeat of the world begins. Where does today take you? What new journey begins? Take a leap and live the impossible dream. create your own new story from your soul. It's kind of funny. I've never thought I would do a video like this where I'm talking about, which a lot of my friends tell me is my favorite city in the world. And I decided to create something that would share why this city affects me the way that it does. So where do I start? I'll start by saying that my fascination with Paris was evident a long time ago. I remember my mother, actually she spoke French and she studied the French culture as part of her studies in terms of drama and music. In fact, there was at one point she was offered to study school here, study music here, I should say. And so as a little boy, I remember her singing songs like Frère Jacques, you know, dormez-vous, dormez-vous. And she would teach me how to sing in French, and I remember those days. So I guess the seed was there for me a long time ago, and it didn't become really evident until I started coming to Europe, traveling here, specifically for work. It was 2009, and I had been offered a position to work in Germany. Well, as part of working in Germany, the weekends were typically mine to do what I wanted to. And so I remember there was one time where I decided to hop on the train and come to Paris. I had never been here. I'd been wanting to come here. And the high-speed rail had just been put in. And so I decided that I was going to go to the City of Lights, make this fantasy come true. And so I hop on the train, as I said, and I come to Paris, and I get off at Gare du Nord, which is the train station, one of the main train stations here. And as soon as I walked out of the train station, actually, I would say when I was actually in the train station and I saw the beauty and majesty of this train station that is really old, and I saw the people, and I immediately fell in love with the city. The architecture, the people, and it was like I had come home, or at least a part of me came home. When I come to Paris, I typically stay in an apartment. I don't. The hotels here are fabulous and that kind of thing, but I find myself not enjoying the city as much because it's not. You're not living in the culture. You're not living amongst the natives. So you really don't get the total experience of the city itself. Well, one of the things I love to do is just walk. Just walk. And, I say to other people, I say, when you come to Paris, outside of doing the normal things, going to Soulivity and Les Eiffel, and those kinds of things, just meander, just walk, spend a day walking. Don't even take the metro, though you should take the metro if you're in Paris. Just walk, and you undoubtedly will come across something that is magnificent or unusual or calming or peaceful. There's tons of little parks that are spread out within the city, and you can just pick one. You can sit down. You can grab some Dupont or Le Fromage and just enjoy life. That's what a lot of Parisians do. They really enjoy life by just creating a work-life kind of balance where they're always at peace. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's things that are happening here, and people do protest, and they're very progressive when it comes to that. And people, making sure that their rights are intact. And there's the other part of their life where they are very passionate about living in all the aspects of life. One of my favorite things to do is to, as I'm walking, because that's probably my favorite thing to do, is just to walk the city, is to spend time around the bridges. Paris is known as the City of Light because of the many churches that are here that are from the Gothic design that have all these windows, but it's also known as a city of bridges. I believe there's over 20-something bridges, or even more than that, within the city, in all shapes and varieties. There's some over the canal, there's some over the Seine, and so spending time just walking and one of my favorite movies is Sabrina, and of course there was a remake with Harrison Ford, and the female character Sabrina Fair talks to Harrison about, you pick a bridge, you take out your journal, and you write and you talk to the river. And I agree with her when she says, whatever you talk about to the river is between you and the river. Good advice. I don't know, specifically why this city affects me the way that it does. Maybe there was a past life where I was a Parisian or something, but whenever I come here, I feel very, very comfortable. And I immediately kind of fall into the rhythm and the heartbeat of the city.
All my old ones are kind of dead. Another place where I could meet some new friends. The time has come to make a step towards a new way of thinking and stop running backwards to my own mistakes. I hope someone will be there waiting, even though I won't be begging for new love affair with me. The sky will have to be so caring, a new challenge to have me smile.
was good sharing all this with you. I hope that you do make a trip to Paris soon. You will definitely not regret it.
I'll have to learn to care again. Although it's hard, I must do better. I want to show that I can fall in love again. I need this man to understand.
Soulivity Magazine brings you the best in inspiration on Soulivity TV. Check out our new shows. Mark your calendars for Soulivity Magazine shows by going to soulivity.com now.